What's up, guys? Welcome back for another solo mining episode. We have had a busy week, that's for damn sure, and we're just gonna kind of chill, do some ice mining in the endurance, and just kind of talk a little bit about mining, talk about kind of our plans moving forward, what's changed, what's coming, all that good stuff. But as you can tell, we're not in a mining ship right now. But to kind of start this episode off, I wanted to kind of explain how to kind of analyze and look at ice belts and decide how to kind of tackle them. Not all ice belts are built the same. Now this one has been up for a couple days. I'm really actually looking forward to this one rotating. This one is, in my opinion, not perfect because it is only 2.3 AU from both gates in this system, which means that D-scan, anybody who comes into the system can immediately D-scan at full and see us on grid, so we don't have that extra layer of security. But I already have a bookmark out here from a couple days ago, but I always never mind close to zero. So this anomaly, green anomaly indicator on the overview, that is basically zero. If anybody warps to this belt, that's where they're going to go, unless they come in at 100 or 50 or 40 or whatever. So every time I make bookmarks for ice belts, anomalies, anything like that, I'm always trying to go as far out as possible. Now for ice, since I'm making fuel blocks, that's the main focus right now. I am looking at what I call faction ice. Faction ice is going to be what gives you the isotopes. So for us, it's going to be smooth glacial mass. This is what we focus on. Don't really mind anything else. We get our isotopes out of here, our stront and liquid O and heavy water. What's nice is we actually have use for all these byproducts. So the isotopes will go into fuel blocks, obviously. We can use liquid O for our Sino ships, heavy water for sieging, and the stront we can actually use in our player-owned starbase, which isn't up right now. But it when you fuel the starbase with stront, that is what fuels the shield repair on that. So we kind of seen everything we can see here, so we're going to go ahead and take this buzzard back to dock and kind of switch into our endurance. Now it's been kind of busy today. We've had some neutrals in system, some people looking for fights, PvP. It's so populated, it's Friday, that's how it works. So instead of taking like the Mackinac out or drone mining with the Rourke or anything like that, we are going to use our trusty old endurance. Now I've been doing some, just a lot of my mining these days is actually very experimental. So there, a couple days ago, actually, I took my Mackinac out with only one laser on it and a prototype cloak, which was fun and a first for me. But I'm really a fan of the cloaking kind of technique that I've been doing lately. But it just really comes down to Mackinac is great. It has a lot of storage, but if you really want to go out there for like close to 40 units at a time, it's and you have access to multiple alts, it's going to be better to take two endurances out. They just have a little bit more, they're a little bit more evasive. Let's go and undock this guy. We'll get these lasers on and kind of talk about, oh man, everything that's been going on. I know we haven't had a solo mining episode in almost a week, and I apologize for that, but there was a lot of things going on, a lot of big moves. As you know, I was on quite a hiatus for a while from Eve, and a lot of that had to do with just like burnout and things like that. But we're kind of back in the swing of things. I kind of had to find something that excited me again. And if you seen the community post or watched any of the G-Nun docs, and you probably already know that I have taken my corporation and I've joined Slow. So, and this is actually the first time, and I'm actually on my main right now, which is crazy. This is the first time in 4 years, give or take, that my main has been outside of Jita, which is nice. And a lot of that was, I really wanted to actually get back to using my main because it has a lot of skill points, and I made a lot of alts in the past that I didn't necessarily need to, but for OPSEC reasons, I just decided to use alts instead of my main. But I've kind of gotten tired of that, so we're going to be just using the main account. My goal is still actually to come down to only using maybe like 2 accounts. My main account has all 3 character slots filled. We use them all for PI right now. So we scaled PI before. We had an alt in slow in my buddy's corp, which, you know, I've told you guys about and everything, but the 6 planets were just not enough for me. And with the addition to like the restart button and the templates and the multi-select, all that stuff that was added to PI, that really kind of, you know, put some fuel in the old gas tank, and it really got me excited to kind of get back into PI because of how just easy it is. Now, of course, you know, if you want access to those templates, you know, I'm keeping a running file on Patreon. That's a good place to kind of source that kind of stuff. Let's talk about this endurance a little bit. Now, this endurance is, you know, pretty much a standard fit. You know, it's I have a few of these out here. I brought some backups, so if I needed to, I could bring my Sino-Alt out here. My Sino-Alt is actually Nevermore, which was the original Solo Alpha series tune, who then turned into the main tune that was being used in Solo Industry there in HiSec, who now is, who was strictly Alpha for many years, who is now my 2nd highest trained tune, which is nice. The last time also I was in Nullsec, I used that tune as my pseudo main. It has like 100 million skill points or so. My main is up to like 180. So it's nice to kind of have a good spread. And that's really important as you progress in EVE. You know, having multiple tunes that can do a lot of things really can improve your quality of life. And this is the first time that I've ever been in Null where I've had 2 characters that could run a jump raider, which is really nice. So that alt, not only can it do Sinos for the Rourke and the jump raider, but it also can kind of do side work. If I'm out here mining or doing some ratting, it can run the jump raider to and from stations and kind of, you know, take care of the refining. It's also very, very trained in industry and research. So about the only thing it can't do is Marauder. It can't do Golem. It can't do Rourke, but that's fine. It's also a max skilled miner and booster for Orca. So I probably won't actually take those skill points out of that tune. I really kind of like where that tune's at. The other 2 tunes on this account are pretty trained as well too. They're both, you know, pretty decent miners, but they've been relegated down to just being PI bros for the most part. But anyway, I digress. We're going to talk about this fit a little bit. This is one I've been using, and every time I want to do a little bit more, like every time I want to take the Mackinac out, it's just, I keep coming back to this endurance. I've been just really enjoying the expedition frigates and like the whole like kind of evasive mining kind of thing. So we have this fitted out for ice because the endurance is spec'd for ice. The prospect is the one is going to be for gas and ore. This one is ore and ice. But we're running a ice mining laser too. We have scan probes on here just in case we want to, like, you know, while we're mining, you know, scan some signatures down, bookmark them, whatever. The improved cloak makes this ship really fun to fly because we are keeping ourselves at over as long as you're as long as there's nothing around your ship within 2,500 meters, you can basically, if a nuke comes in the system, immediately cloak and just chill. No need to go off to a pause or a deep space bookmark and then wait and then come back. You can just kind of hide in place. And then we have 2 sensor boosters on here with ECCM scripts. Now this is more of like a technique that's used in wormholes. You turn these on, it makes you hard to scan down. Like if we were in like a wormhole system where there's no local and they weren't certain that I was here and they're using combat probes, it would, you know, take them a little bit longer to actually get a lock and warp on me. But we've been just using kind of the improved cloak method. And then I just got a micro warp drive on here just to kind of get around a little bit faster. And then everybody's favorite sensor booster 2. This helps just because I can see kind of what's left in the rock I'm working on, how many runs it might take, or if I need to reposition or whatever. But this fit and this ship has been pretty good. And it can only hold 19 units, but it doesn't take very long to fill up. I have about 47.7 seconds per unit. Now, the other alt that I said is a boost alt. I have also been kind of experimenting this week. I've taken that alt out here and boosted this endurance. It only brings it down to like 30 or so seconds. And then also I've put that alt in the other endurance. You come out here with 2 endurances and just kind of stick stuff on rocks. And that's actually nice too, a way to blitz. But at this point in my mining Eve career, I'm not necessarily worried about yield anymore. I'm not worried about ISK per hour. I'm really worried about just kind of the content, just doing the mining and industrial thing. And this just, I've always kind of liked doing the rogue type gameplay. No matter what I play, I always like the covert kind of side of stuff. So maxing these guys out, I heavily endorse the prospect and the endurance and all that stuff. But not much else that can be said there. If you guys want to see like the prospect in play, we're gonna be doing the prospect stuff with ore. We have to travel a little bit for that, just because of the way the new anomalies work. Each system in our cluster in our region is kind of spec'd for different types of the new ore anomalies, and that's why the prospect is so great. Because if traveling is already a requirement, then having that covert cloak on that prospect is just amazing. The prospect is actually what I take out for Mercoxit as well. Now, I've explained in the past, the Rorqual can either come out to drag mine with us, do a boost. I usually run a cloak on the Rorqual as well. Same strategy. I'll usually bring my my mining ship out here, and then I'll bring the boost ship out. I'll warp it to the miner and add like 70k, 40 to 70k, and sit that kind of far off and just boost. And then if I'm boosting, usually unsieged, as long as you're unsieged, you can just hit that advanced or that improved cloak even on the boosters and just hide in place as well. But for many years, especially ever since the X-Cavs and everything kind of got nerfed for the Rorqual, it's more or less a suitcase. It's good for conduit jumping. I can throw a bunch of assembled mining ships in it, use a Falcon or whatever on my alt and kind of move it around and do what I gotta do there. So it's a glorified suitcase for the most part. There's really no value in bringing the Rorqual out. Even with the new T3 anomalies, the rocks are bigger, there's fewer rocks, but I still don't think that justifies the yield you get from like the drones, or even like just taking the Rork out and sieging it for boost with hulks and stuff. I think you're almost better off just kind of doing a different strategy for the most part. Their big focus for those T3 sites were to try to get Rorquals back out. It's just I don't think we're there yet. But and if we ever, I don't think we actually in this region have any of those T3 sites kind of spec'd to spawn yet either. So maybe I'll maybe when they actually are available to us, we'll kind of experiment. But you can run the math and stuff, just like all mining. You can run the math and stuff before you undock and tell you if it's worth your time or not. So, but yeah, we're focusing. We scaled out PI. We're focusing on fuel blocks, and we're gonna try to sell those. Everybody needs fuel blocks. It's one of the things that I really love making. And then we also have nanite repair paste kind of going. Let's look at our industry. Got some stuff in the works. Actually, some of these fuel blocks are done. So while we're sitting here, we're just watching local. That's all we're doing. And then nullsec is so much more chill than highsec, because in highsec, not only are you watching local, but you're also just jamming D-scan like a madman. And that's what I like about nullsec is I really only have to watch local. And then if somebody comes in here into system, I can just cloak. So we just brought these fuel block BPOs out. We probably won't be using the oxygen, the helium, or the nitrogen too much because we don't get those isotopes naturally in this area. But they're nice to have if we import those isotopes to make certain blocks for certain reactions. So for advanced industry, you do kind of want all 4 of them. They don't take long to research. We're about to put these in for the time efficiency now, and to take it all the way to 20%, you see that's only 2 days. I think total for 10 and 20% like fully researched, it's only like maybe it's less than a week. And which we're not worried about. Even if it took more longer than that, we're still kind of building out the PI. We want a good stockpile of PI and all that stuff. And while we're researching these and we're stockpiling the PI for it, we're also mining the ice. Nano repair paste is done. Nano repair paste BPO is super fast to research. That's why I actually don't recommend copying the fuel block BPOs. There's just no value in it. They're so cheap and they're so fast to fully research. At one point I had in Caldari Null, where like nitrogen topes were coming off the ice belts, I had like 11 nitrogen fuel block BPOs fully researched, and I would just mine the crap out of that ice and just run pretty much. At one point I had all 11 of them running at different runs and stuff. But there we go, we got our squall. We've been working on a squall BPO for a while, ever since like near the beginning of solo industry. But we've kind of like combined all that stuff, solo industry and all those other like micro series that I've done in the past. We're all just kind of like putting everything into like the solo mining kind of episode here. But in terms of like this series and kind of the channel and all that, we're going to be leaning really into ratting, exploration, mining, industry, pretty much everything. I kind of like to do a whole lot of stuff. Big reason I brought a lot of different ships out with me on this run, just so we can do quite a bit. So, and I have a corp hanger here called mining hold. So this basically gets staged, and then every so often I'll grab the jump freighter, which needs to be renamed, and move that stuff over to refine it. Actually, I normally move uncompressed ore with the jump freighter and then compress it, and then when I'm ready to build something, I then refine it all. Like I don't recommend refining anything until you're absolutely ready to pull the trigger on a build, just because if in a pinch you had to move a bunch of stuff, it's easier to move compressed ice than what comes out of it, trust me. And also you want to make sure you refine this in the station that has refining, obviously, but also where you want to make sure you move it to where you're going to be using it for the BPOs, which in our case is a completely different structure. So I have to go to a separate structure for compression and refining, and then I have to take it from there to a different structure for manufacturing, which is why having a jump freighter or freighter in system is highly valuable. So with that being said, I thank you guys for watching. Look for more videos to be happening more more often per week. I'm going to try to do like 3 videos a week on YouTube. Also Patreon, we're going to be doing exclusive content over there, building that up quite a bit. A lot of deep dive stuff on Patreon. That's what you can find over there. Really kind of getting into the weeds in terms of numbers and kind of like the gratuitous details and things. But thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one.